Hey there, Drew Rebar here with retired NHP Trooper, Sheriff, ex-police chief, and a bunch of other stuff in life, Stewart Handte. And anyways, Mr. Handte's a little bit disillusioned with our government, even though he was on the law enforcement side for many, 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 many years. And as everybody knows, well, I don't know if everybody knows, but here in Nevada, up in the Reno area, Sparks, we had a fire marshal. I don't mean just any fire marshal. I mean the fire marshal of the state of Nevada. He was the top guy. He's also elected to Sparks City Council as a councilman, a guy named Joe Rodriguez. And anyways, he just lost his job. He got crashed in his car while he was in his state-owned police car or fire marshal car, whatever you want to call it, his government-issued vehicle. He was arrested for DUI. And since Stewart worked with Joe Rodriguez for many, many, how many years you work with Mr. Rodriguez, Stu?
Well, let me clarify that. I never worked with him per se. I think he came in after I left the Nevada Highway Patrol. And so I never worked alongside of him. But there was rumors, of course, unsubstantiated rumors, Drew, that he, and of course not the only one, amongst other law enforcement officials, like to go out and party it up and not worry about getting a ride home because they're driving home. And that's a big problem when you're a law enforcement officer, especially one that now, of course, he used to be the state fire marshal. Now he's no longer, which cost him his job. But I mean, you go from being off duty, driving your own car, to being on duty. Technically, you are on duty when you're operating that state vehicle. So you're on duty, you're operating a state vehicle, and you get in an accident and you're drunk. I mean, I think the word stupid comes to mind. And I'm not saying that Joe was a stupid person or is a stupid person. He made some poor choices. And I don't think that was his first time. My personal opinion, I don't think it was his first time driving intoxicated while behind the wheel of a vehicle. Maybe it's not his first time driving intoxicated behind the wheel of a state vehicle. Again, unsubstantiated rumors that go back a few years about him, amongst others, like to drink and drive and not worry about taking a cab or getting a friend or Uber or whatever. I don't even know if Uber's around then. So it should be a wake-up call for many out there in the profession who need help with alcohol. We both know, Drew, that law enforcement profession is a very stressful job. I can attribute to that. You know, it's amazing that there are some places that have programs to help people like Joe. The biggest thing he should have done when he was involved in this accident is said, I need help. I'm an alcoholic. I need help. But that didn't happen. And of course, it cost him his job. You forgot to mention he was also on the school board for Washoe County School Board Trustees. And he and I had some conversations within the last few years about his position there. I don't think he was a fan of mine. That's fine. There are people out there that don't like me, and that's okay. I'm okay. There's people out there I don't like either. So that's the way this world's run. You have friends and you have enemies. I wouldn't say Joe was an enemy of mine. I just don't think he was a fan of mine. And, you know, again, poor choices led to what happened to him. It's his own fault. Some people say, well, you know, you got to give him some consideration. I get it. But if you're got to that point and you're position in law enforcement, whether it's a state fire marshal, whether it's a state trooper, whether it's a regular beat cop for Reno or deputy sheriff of Washoe County, if you got to that point where you know you need help, then go get help. Like I said, there's a lot of agencies out there that have that assistance to give to other people in the agency who are getting adversely affected by the trauma of the profession. And, you know, this is, like I said, this should be a wake-up call to many out there in not only Nevada, but across the nation, that just because you have a badge on, don't make you right.
For sure.
I can specifically relate to one. I think we just mentioned this back right before the end of my career at Nevada Highway Patrol. I was dispatched to an injury accident at the intersection of then South Virginia and Zalesi Lane. Now it's old South Virginia and Arrow Creek Parkway. And I was the second officer on scene. And the first officer was Washoe County Deputy Sheriff, friend of mine, Michael Gross, who sadly, as we're talking about just a minute ago, he actually drank himself to death. I miss him. He was a good guy. But again, the profession gets the best of them sometimes. So I got there. It looked like somebody dropped a bomb in the middle of the intersection of Arrow Creek Park, or Zalesi Lane in South Virginia. And as I got out of my patrol car, I looked over to the Washoe County car, and there was Captain Enrico Togneri, the captain of the Washoe County Jail and the Forensic Division at the Washoe County Sheriff's Department at the time.
Who was the sheriff back then?
That might have been Kirkland. It might have been Kirkland or Balaam. You'd have to look it up because I don't have it in front of you. I know you got lots of resources. So Enrico Togneri, Togneri. And I saw him leaning against the car. And not only did Captain Togneri and I have a professional relationship, we had a personal one too. We knew each other. And I said, Captain, what are you doing out here? He goes, hey, Stu. I mean, slurring his words. And I'm like, hey, damn, you sound like you're drunk. And I kept thinking initially, was he in a ride along with this deputy? And then I'm looking around and I don't see the deputy. And I look up over in the field where medical personnel was working on someone who sadly had already been pronounced deceased. Gunter Paskowiak, the vice president of Porsche North America at the time. And
their headquarters was right down there off of Liberty in Virginia, wasn't it?
Wells Avenue and Wells Avenue. They had the Porsche building, but they had the Porsche shop on Wells Avenue. That's gone now. I don't know what they did with the Porsche building. To be honest with you, don't really care. But yeah, he was the vice president of Porsche North America, and he had given his brand new Porsche to his son that night because his son had prom that night. Was going to impress his date by taking Daddy's Porsche to the prom. And so he was driving his son's car, what was an Audi, I think it was called the Quattro. Anyways, it was one of those weird station wagons that really wasn't any back end to it. It was just like a station wagon that tried to be a station wagon, but wasn't. So he was driving that. And so I'm looking around the scene and I say, okay, what happened here? There's a car out in the field. There's hundreds of yards away from me. And there's a deputy sheriff's car here with a drunken captain. I mean, my initial observation was confirmed eventually. And I'm looking around and I turn over my shoulder. And here comes Deputy Gross at me and his eyes are wide open. Like he's about something to tell me something that's not going to be good. So I'm looking at him. He's pointing at me. I'm looking back at the Captain Togneri. I'm looking at, I go, oh no, do not do. I said, stop right there, Mike. Stop right there. He goes, this is your accident. I go, yeah, I know. We had another trooper responding to handle that accident, Kevin McNally. And I would, like I said, I was first on scene, but Kevin McNally said he would take the wreck. So I said, okay. He goes, that's my captain over there. I go, yeah, I know who he is. He's drunk. Okay. He crashed into a car that's out in the field. Yeah. And that guy in that car is dead. Great. Minimum impact speed was 110 miles an hour off the marks. He hit the car so hard that the rear wheels of the car that he hit landed on the trunk of his car. He had a Saturn. And believe it or not, the outlet was totally destroyed, displaced the man's skull, killed him instantly. Togneri's car wasn't really that bad because he hit him so fast that the car was actually vaulted in the air. So Kevin McNally gets on scene. I get on car-to-car radio. I get on dispatch and said, I need Sergeant Johnson, who was Gary Johnson. Good guy. Great guy, Miss Gary. He was his first night on swing shift supervisor. He'd just been promoted to sergeant. And I contacted him on regular radio. So go to car radio, which is channel 7. And I says, I need you down here right now, Sarge. He goes, is it bad? I go, the worst. I say, I need you to start making notifications up the chain of command of what we got going. He goes, what do we have going, Stu? I says, I'm not going to say it over the radio. You just need to get here. And I mean, roll code 3. And he did. So as time progressed, I was the one who was basically in charge of taking care of Captain Togneri because Trooper McNally got there, Sergeant Johnson got there, other troopers got there to assist with the accident investigation. I said I would take care of Captain Togneri because of the fact I was first on scene and I made contact with him and I started to make the determination he was drunk. Plus, I had a relationship with him. So I said, Captain, I need you to come with me, Washoe County Jail. We're going to do a legal descending series of blood draws. He goes, am I in trouble, Stu? I go, sir, right this time, I'm not going to get into the intangibles. I said, I just need you in the car. He goes, are you going to handcuff me? I go, unless you're going to cause problems, no. Get in the front seat. So I transported Captain Togneri all the way to Washoe County Jail without being handcuffed. Because that's sometimes what you need to do. Nothing's always black and white in life. So he agreed, but he wanted to talk to his attorney, Cal Dunlap, another worthless, useless Reno attorney. And you want to talk to him? I said, I can't let you talk to him, Captain. I said, I need you to do this for me. This is Stu talking to Enrico right now. Enrico, you need to do this for me because I don't want to go the other route. And the other route was not a good route to go. He said, I'll do it for you, Stu. So we did a legal series, 3 blood draws within a half hour apart. I think his first one was a .20, second one was a .18, third one was a .16, legally intoxicated. At the time, the blood alcohol level in Nevada was .10. In fact, Captain Togneri had been instrumental in getting that blood alcohol level back in the 80s, early 80s, set at .10. He was instrumental in that. So after the series was done, I contacted the on-call district attorney, Roger Holmes, who's sadly no longer.
Hang on. So the guy that was instrumental in getting the rules set was breaking the rules.
Absolutely. So I contacted Roger Holmes, the deputy district attorney on call. I says, all right, Roger. It was a busy night too. I think it was a Friday night. What do you need me to do? Well, Stu, I know this is not going to be good for you. But I need you to place him under arrest and charge him with felony drunk driving involving death, voluntary manslaughter, and felony reckless driving. I said, all right. I got to do what I got to do. So Captain Togneri was sitting in the blood draw chair in the blood draw room at the sheriff's office jail detention facility. So, Captain, I need you to stand up. He goes, Stu, I've been asking you now for a few times, how's the guy? I said, make it, Captain. And he fell to the floor. Just fell to the floor. And, you know, a lot of people think the cops out there get this stone cold persona image. It was sad to see him just crumpled up in the ball on the floor. So I helped him up. I handcuffed him in front. And nobody had told the detention facility that I was coming in with their captain on a busy night. And I walked him over to the Sally Port, and the doors open. The sergeant came out and goes, what are you doing here with my captain? I said, he's under arrest. For? And I told him, he goes, oh my effing God. F me, F me, F me. I go, yeah, you might want to start making some phone calls up the chain of command, Sergeant. Interesting thing was, before my paperwork was done, he was out the front door because, you know, he had the wheels greased. To Captain Togneri's credit, even though he killed a person, he spent minimum time in the minimum security prison up in Oregon. And then he came out and became working for Victim Impact Panel for my dear friends, Jim and Ann Holmes. Jim's gone now, passed away. And he became a volunteer speaker there and told his story time and time again in front of the crowds of people who've been arrested and charged with drunk driving. I give the man credit for that. I don't give him credit for killing someone. I never will. I don't give Joe Rodriguez any credit for crashing his patrol car when he knew better than to do that. So there are lessons to be learned throughout our lives, Drew. And I believe Mr. Rodriguez is about ready to learn a very harsh one involving probably his position in Spark City Council. If he does want to do the right thing, he would resign. He would seek treatment for his problem, obviously. And he would get on with his life if he can. So Captain Togneri did get on with his life to a certain degree. He eventually went to work for another useless attorney in Reno called Dave Houston. I retained Dave Houston on my case many years ago.
Here we go. I found something on it.
You found something on it, okay?
So Supreme Court dismisses appeal of former Reno Sheriff's captain.
Yeah.
Nevada Supreme Court dismissed the appeal of former captain in Washoe County Sheriff's Office who was sentenced to 12 years in prison for the drunken driving death of a Reno man. So like you said, Mr. Joe Rodriguez, hopefully, well, he didn't kill it. Well, hopefully he didn't kill any.
Yeah, no, he didn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
Thank God. It could have
Yeah.
been a lot worse for him. He'll be lucky to just escape with losing his job, and rightfully so. I'm sorry. You know how many hundreds of DUI arrests I made over my 30-year career, and there's conscious choices to make. And the main choice is just don't put the key in the ignition. Set something up before. You know, there's plenty of ways to get around these days. I don't care if you have to walk home. I've walked home before after drinking. Yeah, I mean, so what? Don't get behind the wheel of a killing machine, as Jim would say, a 4,000-pound weapon, and that's exactly what a vehicle is. Something even bigger that can be steered into another vehicle, a person, you know, an animal, whatever. And the consequences are either marginal to brutal. So
you arrest him. You arrested him. I towed away the wrecks with my business.
yes,
You get in one of those cars after somebody's been drinking, and you open the door, in the smell that comes out of that car. There's no other smell like that rancid alcohol, gross. Just and it the thing that people don't recognize is that smell just lingers inside that car even after they're gone.
Yeah, and sometimes people get sick in their vehicles. I've had a person defecate himself and then laughed about it, and I stuck him in my patrol car, of course, with a crash blanket underneath him. And then he got mouthy at the jail, which is not a smart thing to do. And he was a head mechanic for Harris at the time. I arrested him. And the deputy just let him stay in his poopy drawers the rest of the night. He wasn't a happy camper the following morning, I can tell you that.
So how do you think it went for former Fire Marshal Rodriguez when he got arrested? Do you think they arrested him and cut him loose real quick too? I mean, I'm gonna get the public records and try to find out. I'm looking to get the video, and hopefully I'll be able to post the video and show everybody what happened when they arrested him and all that stuff.
Well, let me tell you this: they won't release somebody out of that jail, that useless, worthless jail called Washoe County Detention Facility. Darren Balaam, I hope you're listening, unless their blood alcohol drops below a certain level. So it's a liability. You know, you can't do it. There was a deputy years ago, Greg. I can't remember Greg's last name at the moment. He was responding to a call of a large party in progress out at the Pinnacles, which is the north end of Pyramid Lake. And he made a traffic stop on his way out there. And lo and behold, the driver of the car was intoxicated, a young kid. And he made the collective decision to take the keys from the kid, Greg Luby, Lubbe. And that should be in the news too, if you pull that up. And he took the keys from the kid and continued to the party, which was not a code 3 call, by the way. Well, the kid had an extra set of keys. And when Deputy Luby took off, he started the car back up again and his partner in the car, and they took off and they got in a head-on collision south of that location. And it wound up resulting in the death of another person. I believe he may have been killed too. I got to remember. It's been a long time. And Luby actually responded back to the scene. Nevada Highway Patrol, we handled the accident.
Was he over at Eureka County?
Not that I know of. He was Dick Kirkland's personal pilot with Raven.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look him up right now. It's Greg Luby.
Luby, Lubbe. Might be 2 E's. Yeah. Yeah. Kirkland's personal pilot for that aircraft. So, he stepped in, you know what, and came out smelling like a rose, because technically that he should have lost his job over that. I mean, he allowed a situation to go from bad to worse. And there wasn't the call at the Pinnacles was a large party, possible fights involved. Well, you know, when you take yourself from one set of circumstances to another, you
I think your sound went out there. You still there? I think your audio is going out, man. Oh,
Yeah, somebody
you're back.
just are you there? Hang on. Let me. Somebody just texted me. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, nah.
No, hang on.
There
Got
you
it?
go.
Okay,
You're back.
I'm back. So, anyways, I'd like to talk a little bit more about the Second Judicial District Court and the
Oh
time.
yeah, Judge Rob and that whole crazy thing.
Well, I think Judge Rob's a kook. I've known her since college, so I'm just going to leave
So
it.
let me put something in there. So in case people that don't know about what's going on in Washoe County and Reno.
Yes.
So in the Washoe County Second Judicial District Court, the chief judge has removed a gal named Judge Rob, and she was doing some crazy stuff, stalking people, had a restraining orders, protection orders issued against her. So they took her off the bench. But then the chief judge, Egan, I think that's his name.
Egan Walker.
He just pulled another judge, Steinheimer, and pulled her off the bench. So what do you know about those people since you've been around forever?
Well, first of all, I don't know anything about Steinheimer. I know she's been on the bench a long time. And Bridget Robb, as far as I'm concerned, she's a kook. She's the most overturned judge in the state of Nevada, I believe, back in 2024 when they came out with this survey. Breslow being the second of her decisions being overturned by the Nevada Supreme Court. I've known Bridget Robb since college. She's not mentally wrapped tight up there, and this kind of goes hand in hand with what happened. Anyways, Judge Egan Walker, another fine, reprehensible excuse of a person being a judge. First of all, let's get something straightened. People, we have the evidence here to prove what I'm about ready to say. None of those judges in that court have a bond, a valid bond, as required by state law. None of those judges in that court have a valid recorded oath of office or commission as required by state law. And under state law, they are deemed to be invalid in their positions and they are to be removed from the bench. Period. There is no gray area. There's no other little codicils that allow them to stay where they're at. So all these judges are currently operating invalid for a period of time, years now, in their positions. Can you say multi-billion-dollar class action lawsuit? I sure can. These judges are, I mean, I've dealt with some of them. And the bottom line is most of those judges in the 30 years I was a cop, you put the robe on and they instantly become 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Delusions of grandeur, as we would call it. Barry Breslow is no different. He's just, I mean, the guy's got 58 properties. Bought his house in Brian Sandoval's, bought Brian Sandoval's house after Brian put him on the bench. I believe it's called quid pro quo at the very minimum, some sort of ethics violation. But these judges just don't care. They don't care. Once they're on there, they think they're invincible. Once they think they're on there, they can do whatever they want. I went up against Breslow on when he put me on the GPS monitor. I says, there's a Supreme Court ruling out there that says these things are illegal. The Tory Grady versus North Carolina, 2015, where GPS monitors, and I hope everybody's listening out there, all GPS monitors for tracking purposes only are illegal. They're a violation of the Fourth Amendment, unconstitutional search and seizure of your body, unless you have a judge who's willing to sign a ongoing warrant for as long as you wear that GPS monitor. There's no judge out there going to do that. And also violation of 14th Amendment due process. So when I told that to Breslow looked at me and goes, well, that's your opinion. I go, actually, no, Judge, it's actually the United States Supreme Court, just a little bit above your head. They don't care, Drew. So Egan Walker, years ago, when he was a Washoe County Deputy District Attorney, and I hope he's listening. I hope he's listening because, see, I remember stuff. And I remember this because John Bohatch was a friend of mine. And John Bohatch was a detective with the Reno Police Department. At the time, he was assigned to child sex cases to investigate and submit to the district attorney's office for prosecution. Well, he and I used to work out at 24-hour fitness gym up in Northwest Reno. And he told me about this case. He said it was a pretty bad case. And that he had submitted it to the district attorney's office for recommendation for prosecution. Well, Egan Walker was assigned the case. and he declined prosecution. And according to John, he and Egan got into a knockdown, drag out phone conversation where Egan Walker basically said, I'm the guy, one who calls the final shot here, John, not you. So basically, F you and too bad, so sad. Well, John, being the diligent police officer that he was, sadly, when I say he was shot and killed on duty by a scumbag with a high-powered rifle a few years ago. And yeah, the diligent officer that he filed a complaint with the district attorney's office, rightfully so. And while that complaint was under investigation, Egan Walker and Cheryl Hire Johnson, intoxicated one night, go to the Reno Police Department, and they find John Bohatch's desk. And Egan Walker pees in John Bohatch's coffee cup.
What?
Now,
Hang on. He did what in the guy's coffee cup?
he pissed in it. He peed in it.
Why?
Because he's a dickhead. That's why. And
Just,
so that he got in trouble for that. Egan Walker got in trouble for that. But now he's a district court judge and the chief judge. That man has no business being a judge.
so is that in the guy's file somewhere that he did that?
You would have to dig that one up. But yeah, he got reprimanded. I believe Mills Lane was the attorney at the time. We can't talk to Mills anymore. But yeah, John Bohatch found out that Egan Walker had gone into the police department while John was not working. It was nighttime. And both he and Cheryl Hire Johnson, another reprehensible excuse of a deputy district attorney, were drunk. They admitted to it. And Egan Walker, I guess, admitted to the fact that because they had cameras then and caught him in there. So how does anybody in that county and city instill any faith in those type of people who become judges, whether it's a community court judge or justice court judge, or in this case, second judicial district court judge?
Here, he's saying, are you telling me a police officer involved in the case did ex parte communication with Egan Walker where Egan Walker told flat out recusal of his decision to make?
He wasn't a judge at the time, so let's get the facts right. He was a deputy district attorney. Okay, so John Bohatch picked up the phone to call deputy district attorney Egan Walker, and they got into a knockdown, drag out over the phone about the case. And basically, Egan Walker says it's my choice to prosecute or not. I'm choosing not to. So basically, stick it, John. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So this was a couple of days ago or years ago. So for the timeline. So
yeah, so they're getting confused because at the time Egan Walker was a deputy district attorney, so he got reprimanded for that. And again, like I'm saying, folks, if anybody out there, wants to instill faith and trust in these judges out there, but you better take a long, hard look, just like the attorneys. You better take a long, hard look about how you're instilling faith and trust in people. For the most part, a lot of them. And I'm not bashing law enforcement, every single cop out there, because there are good cops out there. There are.
Well, and here I want to say something to this dude here. So as far as disparaging a district court judge who's now the chief judge,
I don't believe what I'm saying. I don't care. Don't believe what I'm saying. It's the truth. You want to challenge me on it? Sue me.
Yeah.
Yeah, challenge me.
So I mean, the whole point of this is question the government, question the people that are in power, because if you're not holding them accountable.
Yeah. And I absolutely am disparaging a district court judge because these judges are no good. So if you want to call me out on that, by all means do so. I don't care.
Yeah,
I got a good memory. Yeah.
Well, and according to the Constitution state of Nevada, truth is a defense to libel. So as long as you're telling the truth.
And since we have this private attorney on here, I hope you listen to me right now. Bar licensed attorneys, they're dirt. They're scumbag dirt. Okay. And the reason is their first allegiance is to the bar, the second allegiance to the court, and the third allegiance is to the client. So all you bar licensed attorneys out there, I'm going to take a long walk off a short pier. Constitutional attorneys, very few of them out there. They're decent, but bar licensed attorneys, all they're worried about is their damn paychecks and how much work they can get. That's it. The bottom line. So if it's 3 years ago, it's still relevant given the back of that trial backlog hits his cause. Yeah, Mr. Private Attorney, it's more than 3 years ago, I believe. Okay, but again, remember, He wasn't a judge then. But Mr. Walker was a judge when he made a decision on my former co-defendant, Roger Hillegas's um, estate and trust in his court. And there is a statement on record, and we have the evidence, where he says, I don't believe I have the authority to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Now, that is on record. That is documented with evidence. How idiotic is a statement like that to be made by a judge? I don't believe I have the authority, but I'm going to do it anyway. Why? Because I'm a judge. I can do whatever I want. I got a black robe. I got a gavel. They're lunatics, okay? And we're seeing, as time has progressed here, Drew, within the first time you and I have talked, starting to see a series of judges start to fall. I hope the whole thing falls. I hope the whole legal system goes away. We, the people, need to restructure it, dismantle the one we have, restructure it, and put the correct people in the correct positions, plain and simple. To hell with law schools, to hell with bar licensed attorneys. All it takes is common sense. Common sense to understand the laws as they are written, not interpreted, written. And these judges interpret these laws whenever they see fit. So
they've stopped following the Constitution. They've stopped following the law, and they've made it their feelings enforcement and their feelings for their policy versus what the law and the Constitution is supposed to be. If we just simply follow the law and the Constitution as it's written, in the black and the white, and we stop making stuff up and everybody can understand it, I think life would be a whole lot easier for everybody.
And all these judges are in cahoots with each other. You're going to find it very rare that like for instance, that a Supreme Court judge would overrule a district court judge. It happens, but it's rare because they all are involved in the black robe mafia. That's what they're called. And if you people don't believe it, there's thousands of cases out there where these judges have taken children away from their parents for no reason, have taken assets and property away from elderly for their own personal gain between the attorneys and judges and the corrupt cops. Again, documented with evidence. So don't take my word for it. You can Google it all yourself. It's amazing that these judges are not being perp walked out the front door in handcuffs in their pretty black robes. It is corruption. It's prevalent. It's right there in people's face every single day. And I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, doesn't matter. It involves everybody in every political affiliation party. And we got people in Nevada. Crooked. How about Harry Claiborne, the only federal judge ever removed from the bench? What state was he from? Nevada.
Nevada.
I got a chance to pull him over and issue him a speeding ticket and tow him up on one time. Was a state trooper. That was a treat. So
you heard about that the next day, right?
Actually, I did not. He was not happy with me, and the girl in the front seat of his Dodge Ram Charger, a gold and brown brand new Dodge Ram Charger, was not his wife, but I'll leave it there. Harry Claiborne. But he pulled the card. Do you know who I am? I go, yeah, Harry Claiborne. Do you know who I am, though? I said, yeah, you're a judge. So, if people don't understand how bad the corruption is in Reno, you know it, you're going through it. I'm here to tell you, I lived in that city for 50 years. 50 years. My mom's relatives owned Harold's Clubs. That's gone now. So I have a little foundation to speak on some of the stuff that I have encountered. And when I blew the whistle in my own department in 2000, and then threatened my career in all days, 9/11, 2001, I think I have foundation to say I've been through my baptism by fire with the corruption, cops, attorneys, judges, 1, 2, 3. And I could speak on my own personal experience now that I am a quote unquote convicted felon because of Barry Breslow, an invalid and corrupt judge, and other judges involved in that case. Egan Walker, Scott Freeman, Kathy Draculich, Lynn Simon Jones, Tammy Riggs. Kind of eerie coincidental that Tammy Riggs and Barry Breslow were involved in another case of mine, a civil case, where they took money out of my bank account and gave it to the sheriff's office to the tune of $74,000. Never got that money back. They should have recused themselves from handling my case, but did they? No.
So what happened to the money? Did you ever track it down?
Oh yeah, the money went to the trustee of the estate. I was working for a very wealthy person. I'm not going to say her name. She's deceased now. And If I asked her to give me $10,000 right then and now, she would. She was that kind of person. If she liked you, if she didn't like you, she wouldn't even look at you. But this was the oldest living heiress to the Hawaiian dynasty royalty. And her husband had passed away, and I was fighting Kirkland then at the highway patrol. And the Mrs. I won't say her last name, offered me a position to be her security person, driver, confidant. And I stayed with her for almost 2 years until the family thought I was getting too close. They ran me and another gentleman out of taking care of this lady who, she was 84 years old and she needed care and nobody would help her. So I came in and another person came in to help her. And we got her healthy and we got her, active again. She had gone into a depression following the death of her husband. And she was worth $2.2 billion. So, but the family, her only son, who actually molested his own daughter, but they became good friends after grandma died. He was really piece of work, piece of garbage, what he was. And they ran us out, and within less than 3 weeks, she was dead because they wanted her money. And that's the first thing when I met her. She says, all my family wants me to do is die is get my money. And that's all it's about, Drew. Same thing, no different than Roger Hilligus' situation with his mother. They had $3.8 million. And who got it all? Well, the darling daughter, Robin Renwick, hope you're listening, and attorneys got all that money, $3.8 million.
Just like the gal that married my father.
Just like the gal that yes. Now you bring that up. Yes.
Yeah. We got these predators out there that when older people start to lose their mind, these predators swoop in, take their lives over, and then they change around all of the plans that the people had before they lost their minds.
And I, some of these people are commenting, and I understand that there's a lot of people who mistrust law enforcement. I get it. I don't trust law enforcement anymore either. And I was a cop for 30 years. So don't say fuck your thin blue line flag, okay? Because there are cops out there that will protect you. Not many, but there are some out there. The days of where there was prevalent of good cops is gone. Probably never to come back. So
Well,
the thin blue line.
I've got some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I know, Mr. Hotbox himself.
Okay, so, well, and there's let's bring up Bay Area Transparency. I don't know if you ever watched him, but he goes out and does audits. Huge audience is what that guy has. But he's come over to Nevada a few times, and he's run into the Capitol Police. And the Capitol Police trespassed him, violated his rights, and did all that stuff.
Okay.
Now, on the other hand, so what's happened with the Capitol Police in Nevada over the last few years since he went there, and prior to him coming there, the Capitol Police actually helped me when an Allied Universal security guard went hands-on with me.
I remember that.
And the Capitol Police arrested that security guard a couple of years ago. Is security guard Tom got arrested, got convicted, all that stuff because Capitol Police. But at the same time, these same cops are violating Bay Area Transparency's rights and trespassing him from public property. So now let me fast forward to a couple of weeks ago. I went over to the Nevada Equal Rights Commission, went in there, and another Allied Universal security guard laid hands on me.
Yeah.
And then Reno PD was standing right there, and I said, he just touched me. And I just had surgery the day before. He reached on my arm and pulled me backwards.
Battery.
Yep, that's the definition. Well, you were a cop. That's the definition of battery.
Absolutely.
Don't go hands-on, period. So Reno cop refused to arrest him, but since we were in a state building, the Nevada Equal Rights Commission, that was violating my rights at the time, I called up the Capitol Police and I sent them my video and I said, this is what happened. And so everybody knows the security guard in that video has been arrested and he's coming up for some court dates. We'll see what happens with the Washoe County District Attorney, Chris Hicks.
Another piece of work.
Well, Chris Hicks doesn't like me, so we'll see if he'll actually
doesn't like me either, Drew. Oh well, we're in the same boat there.
But it's the nature of police officers, cops. Some are just inherently really, really bad. Some don't give a shit. Some don't know. Some are stupid, And some care, but they need education.
Well, Reno Police Department, I'm going to say it right now, is corrupt. Okay, they are corrupt. They covered up the homicide of Susan Hilligus. They violated my constitutional rights. They violated Roger's constitutional rights. They took me down at gunpoint. Being a cop for 30 years, they take me down at gunpoint. Fingers in the trigger guard. The day I was arrested on the 14th of August, 2019. Had I been open carrying that day, Drew, they would have shot me. They're going to kill Roger. Based on lies put forth by Ellison Jenkins Klodowski, Michael Barnes, and J. Javier Lopez, the people involved in this ridiculous situation that basically destroyed both Roger and my life and covered up the homicide of his mother. So Reno Police Department is corrupt. Catherine Nance, she's corrupt. They're all corrupt. It's dirty. You know, kind of funny how that little incident involving Tommy Robinson has disappeared off the radar screen. Now, again, I know Tommy. I just don't see that with him.
So for everybody that doesn't remember, here just a few months ago in Reno, there's a Reno police officer or retired Reno police commander. So he was like the second in charge dude up there, but he retired and then he caught in a sting for I can't say that word here on YouTube, but it's that S word.
Yeah.
with young people, people that were under 18. And he got arrested for some allegations there.
But see, here's the weird thing that bothers me. He was a private citizen at the time, Drew. Okay, private citizen. Why did they have to drive his previous employment? But that's what they do. That's what the local media do. I hope you're listening, Bob Conrad, you piece of garbage. Hope you're listening, KTVN and Channel 4, KRMV, and Channel 8, KOLO, because you don't report the news. You're misnomers of purveying truth, okay? Because they won't report the news. They're going to get sued too, by the way, because they blasted false information across the country on both Roger and my situation. They want the sensationalism. The sensationalism is former chief, former state trooper, and again, Joe Rodriguez was on duty, but they always want to pull a former deputy chief of Reno Police Department. Well, gosh, were they investigating when he was the deputy chief? If they were, that's called incompetence because they should have had enough evidence back then to hook him up. I mean, we've seen cops get arrested on duty. I've seen them. There's videos out there. So,
but mostly they protect themselves, though.
Well, true, but there's something more to that story, and nobody has been able to find out anything more. Just like the situation where the guy hit Judge Larry Hicks and crickets for a year because the local media, again, all the local media in Reno didn't do a damn thing to find out what the heck was going on here. I mean, I had secondary reports of the guy going 20 feet in the air and launched 80 feet away from the final resting position of his vehicle. Of course, that was brought up in a recent court hearing that I go to Reno for. I don't care. That's the truth. And then all of a sudden for a year, nobody hears nothing. Then, he's going to plead guilty to involuntary manslaughter, some reduced charge for a win. And the reduced charge, of course, he had to do 30 days in jail for hitting someone at a marked crosswalk on a sunny afternoon. Really? Come on, people. Wake up and smell the coffee here. That was a hit. That was a constructed hit to shut up Larry Hicks. And if Chris Hicks, if you're listening, be a man and pick the phone up and let's talk, really, because I'd be more than happy to talk to you about some of the stuff that you've done. So
why do you so you've got the father that's a federal district court judge, and then the son that's the district attorney.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think Chris Hicks, the district attorney of Washoe County, whose father got killed, wouldn't make that a really big issue with the power that he has?
That's a very good question.
Protecting your family. That's what we're all about. I mean, that's the father and the son, and he's got the power.
You know, if my dad was killed by a person that was reckless in the operation of a motor vehicle, the last thing I want to be doing would be talking to somebody on camera. I would be too restricted to do that. But Christopher Hicks sure took that opportunity, smiling, talking about his dad stuff. Really, dude? Your father was mowed over in a marked crosswalk by a guy who had a lengthy driving record of traffic infractions, and you think this is just again, I'll stand by my opinion. I may be wrong, but it sure looks like a hit to me. And everybody in Reno I've talked to, including yourself, thinks it's a hit too. to shut Larry Hicks up. Maybe Larry had too much information. Larry's one of the good old boys. You know, you shut up the good old boys sometimes when they become a liability now, don't you, Drew?
Yeah. Well, I had a case where I sued the state and Judge Hicks ruled against me. So I've got some other feelings about Judge Hicks.
And I will say this up. Of course, my phone is starting to die on me. I didn't know how long we're going to go for this, but before it does die, you know, there's a lot of corruption, and you've experienced it, obviously. Carson City, Deputy Bueno, and that clan down there. Kenny Furlong needs to have retired a long time ago. There's corruption in law enforcement in Reno. There's corruption, and I've talked to Reno Police Department, the Washoe County Sheriff's Office, the sheriff who significantly failed five separate FTOs, and now he's the sheriff of the county. Why? Because Daddy and Kirkland saved his job. Yeah, because he wants to be a sheriff one day. And lo and behold, Darren's a sheriff. So the corruption in that city, which I used to live in for 50 years, is off the Richter scale. And I keep hearing story after story after story, your stories, other people's stories. It's just really awful to think people have any faith and trust in cops there in that city, because technically you should not. Technically, you should be worried that those type of people out there are not doing active patrols to deter the crime element. That at one point in time, I don't know if it still is, but that Reno, Nevada was the #1 child and human sex trafficking city and the #1 state in the country. That there is significant problems going on. There's a gentleman in prison right now, Robert Ramirez, who had information on the trafficking going through the CARES facility. And then he gets rung up on some ridiculous charge for threatening a member of a renowned emergency room where his fiance at the time was. And they put him in jail for committing weapons of mass destruction crime offense. That was Kathy Draculich that did that. I used to have a lot of respect for her, no longer. And now he is in, he does a prison, which is a max security prison in Southern Nevada. And I believe sooner or later, they're going to take him out because he knows too much about the child trafficking situation involving, again, I've said it before, and I'll say it again before my phone dies. It's going to die here shortly. Certain places in Washoe County where the children are being trafficked to. One is the Plantation Casino. One is the CARES facility. I can't remember where, the Holiday Hotel on 5th Street. So before my phone dies, Mr. Drew Rebart, I want to thank you for this opportunity once again to talk about some of the ridiculous stuff that takes place in my former home state and now the place you live in. And I wish you luck in your endeavors to become a person who's going to instill change in the political system in that state, because it definitely needs it.
Okay, man. Well, I appreciate you sharing your knowledge and what's going on and the corruption and the people that run the government here. Because if you think about this, so I'm running for public office because I want to fix the problems. And here's the problem that I've seen. So 30 years ago, I was in my 20s and I could buy a house, right? Today,
Right.
the average home buyer is now in their 40s. It's buying their first home. So what our government's done, whether it's law enforcement, the bureaucrats, all the people that have been running our government for the last 30 friggin' years, they've made it so that people that used to be in their 20s could buy a house, have a life, build a family. Till now, you can't do that till you're in your 40s. What the hell have we done to ourselves? That's the problem with our government. We've created this system that screwed everybody over and stolen 20 years of their lives.
Agreed. And so enjoy your weekend, my friend. We'll talk again soon. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And yes, I do look in the camera, but sometimes when I'm putting my thoughts together, Mr. XXGEOX 4498, I have to kind of concentrate on getting my thoughts put together because I'm old. Okay. All right, Drew. Take care.
Okay, have a good night. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And everybody, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. That's Mr. Stewart Handte. He's a retired NHP Trooper, ex-sheriff, Mineral County, ex-police chief. Then he got arrested for helping a friend of his with their mother that was old. And yeah, the whole system that we've got for our elderly and how what rights their families have and don't have, and how people take advantage of the elderly in our system. And I, for one, am experiencing that currently. My father, he started having strokes a few years ago, lost the ability to communicate very well, and then he went and got married. And my new stepmommy, yeah. So my dad's still alive, but I don't know if he's the one communicating with me or not. I don't think he is. Can't really talk to him. The only thing I get are text messages now. And yeah, so dealing with people when they get elderly, like Mr. Handte got convicted of after he was a cop for years, and then he was trying to deal with a situation with an elderly person. Now in my life, I can totally understand a lot more of those things that were happening there. So the only thing that I've done, so I advise anybody that's dealing with older parents like I am and trying to help them out, is you need to be very, very, very careful that you don't do anything that can be construed incorrectly. So everything that I've done, I've taken it to ask law enforcement to help me, just to make sure that there's a documented thing out there when you're helping your elderly person, because it gets very complicated legally very quickly. That's a tough thing. Anyways, I'm going to sign off on this one tonight. In case you didn't know, let me put this up there real quick if I can. Where did it go? Let's put it up here. Where did it go before everybody goes? I can do a little advertising here on my thing. Let's see. Where did the advertising go? Maybe I don't know where it went. Anyways, I'm running for Nevada Assembly District 40. If you want to vote for me, if you want to vote for a guy that's just a business guy that wants common sense, you've got to choose me or my competitors. My competitors in the race are the ex-DMV director. Yes, you can vote to run your government more like the DMV, or the ex-ethics director that doesn't really do anything for ethics in the state. So the choice is vote for a guy that wants to run the government so it helps the people, or vote for the people that have been running the government forever and keep getting what you've got. Drew Rebar, Nevada Assembly District 40. Come out and vote June 9th if you live in Nevada. Vote by mail, or hey, we can harvest ballots now in Nevada. The Democrats made it that way. So send me your ballot and I'll send it in. Whatever we got to do. Let's make it legal, though. Have a good night.